Recording in progress. Downloads了的。啥？忘了。update 了。
ಸ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇವಾಗ ಆಗತ್ ನೋಡು. ಸ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇಪ್ಪ ಎಂಕುದಾ?
So this is how I need to change it.
And we can check now.
See? Namaste. I didn't expect you for the doctor. ಶಿವರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋರು ಇದ್ದಾರಾ ಬರ್ತಿದಾರಾ I think it's 3:45 and let's start. Do you want me to use the mic? I think my voice is good enough. Because I have a pretty good pitch voice and no. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had good lunch. Sorry. All had good lunch. That doesn't make you sleepy with the topic what I have today. It is a very subtle subject what I have taken, but there is a lot of connection which we can see through Ayurveda as well. So with you, I also want to explore more regarding how Ayurveda would be a tool to see or to nurture the relationship. So coming to the topic is a new angle on relationship therapy. How to nurture relationship through the lens of the doshas. So before going in detail about the topic, I'd like to know from each one of you what relationship really means to you. When I say the word relationship, what comes exactly to your mind? So can you start with
How we relate to each other.
this? Anything which you feel as soon as you hear the word relationship, it may be something as sir explained, or it may be a person, or it may be something, whatever comes to your mind. What comes to your mind? About anybody, anything. As soon as you hear the word relationship, the word, what does come to your mind? What is that which comes to your mind? Based on the method. So for you?
Understanding each other.
Yes. That is most important. And for you? Okay. Yes. Care. Relationship is care. Care. Caring each other. Okay, that's right. So for you?
Making a balance. Starting with feeling on the
Yes. Mr. Gautam, for you?
It is what
You need some more time? Yes, Shivani? Yes. So you have to take care of the Dr. Belaku? Connection with anybody or anything. Ramchandra, what do you think relation? What is the relationship for you? To individuals. Okay.
connection.
Today, what I'm speaking about relationship is not only the relationship between husband and wife, nor girlfriend or boyfriend, or not only these relationships. The relationships, what we are trying to explore today is, it may be any relationship. It may be in the workplace with your colleagues. It may be a parent and kid relationship. and it is husband and wife relationship, every relationships, even the relationship between the friends. So how to nurture it or how to make it more lovable, careable, as ma'am told, it is care is the relationship, how we can make it more better. That is what we are trying to evaluate or understand today, how we can look into the relationship with the present world, which is very difficult. Because if you see everywhere, even the divorce cases, if you see for last few years, nowadays it is very much big in percentage. The only reason is today they get engaged and tomorrow they don't have that understanding, they get divorced. Or it may be in the work atmosphere also. It is not very easy for any new employee to get in adjusted to a new company and stay with the people who are already staying in the company. So there is a lot of things which are going on with the present generation as well. But even with the older generations, there is a lot of things which older generation also need to learn to cope up with the relationship with the present generations. That is what we are trying to learn today. So when you see this subject, how to nurture relationship through the lens of the doshas. So here there is another word, doshas, which is coming to the main picture here. So when I say doshas, as you are all here in Ayurveda Center since maybe number of days or weeks here, already you know what doshas are. Is there anybody who doesn't know what doshas is? Doshas is, I'll give you a small introduction about what doshas is so that you can connect better when I try to explain in detail about the relationship as well. First, we need to know what Ayurveda is. See, Ayur is life and Veda is science. It is the science of life. That is what, as a professionals, as a BAMS graduates, we study once we are in the college. What Ayurveda is, it is a science of life. And also we study it is the way of life. That is what a professional person learns out of Ayurveda. But is Ayurveda only for the professional doctors? No. It is for all individual. That is the reason there is another definition called as way of life. Ayurveda is nothing but the way of life. There are many subjects or chapters in Ayurveda which explains how a person should lead the life. There are certain chapters called as Dinacharya, Rutucharya. Dinacharya is daily regimen, Rutucharya is seasonal regimens. From the time you get up in the morning, at what time you have to wake up. Once you wake up, what you need to do all through the day. What should be your diet? What should be your lifestyle? What should be your thinking? How you should go to your workplace? Everything, each and every detail has been explained in Ayurveda. So that is the way of life which we need to lead, so that the science of life would be the another big subject which will be handled by the professionals. But as a common people, we all have to adopt Ayurveda in day-to-day life. So that will help us to have a healthy and successful relationships also. So coming to Ayurveda, when I told about science of life and way of life, there is another important thing or subject which every one of us need to know. Each one of us are born with a specific or a special body constitution, which we call it as Prakriti in Ayurveda, which the modern science call it as genetic system. So each one of us are very unique. How we are unique? Because our body is made up of, is having governed by three important doshas, physical doshas called as Vata, Pitta and Kapha, that is air, fire and water energy. The combination of these energies in the body is said to be the Prakriti of that particular person. When I say Vata, Pitta, Kapha, all the three energies are present in all human beings. But the permutation and combination of these energies varies from one person to another person. That is how we are unique from one another. So when I say Prakriti, so do you know what your Prakriti is? Already you are here for a week. What is your body constitution? Okay. So Vata Pitta is your main Prakriti body constitution. Ma'am, yours? Pitta and Kapha. Like this, there are certain energy levels which are in your topmost priority in your body, and the other two energies are also present. But when a person is looked into, they are recognized by the major characteristics of that dosha or the energy. So he is called as Vata person and she is called as a Pitta person. Even though there are second energy levels, they are in the next levels. but the most predominant characters would be of Vata and Pitta in their respective personality. So in Ayurveda, there is a certain characters, physical characters, emotional characters, which has been described for each energy. For Vata, this is how a Vata person is. This is how he looks. This is how his color is. This is how his temperament is. These are his likes. These are his dislikes. This is how he behaves. Everything has been explained in detail in Ayurveda. That has been explained in such a way that once you know the characteristics, even though you're not an Ayurveda doctor, you can easily recognize the person as that predominant energy the person is. Here, I'm not telling you that you need to learn the prakriti of a person. That is not your job. Because for that, there is a different way of analyzing the prakriti of a person. It is a very depth knowledge which is required, where it is done with 3 important examinations. As you have already undergone your prakriti analysis, there is 25% of analysis is done by darshana pariksha. That is just by looking at you. And 25% analysis is done by the prashna pariksha. That is questioning you. When you are sitting in a consultation, there are so many questions asked by a doctor to get that analysis. Major 50% of the analysis is done by a special science called Nadi Pariksha. That is the pulse diagnosis. Taking all these 3 examinations into consideration, a person's body constitution assessment would be done. So I don't tell everyone need to go to that depth level of knowledge, but to have a good relationship, understanding the dosha characters in a broader spectrum, it would be easy for you to analyze the person. So understanding what the Vata characters, Pitta characters, and Kapha characters are, it would be helping you to understand the person. I'm not going today into a deeper discussion about Vata, Pitta, Kapha. That will be done tomorrow by Dr. Belaku to all of you regarding understanding what a Vata person is, what a Pitta person is. Actually, we wanted to swap our talks. Today, she was supposed to do it tomorrow. Because of some commitments, I had to do it today. Otherwise, you would have understood this topic much better. But definitely tomorrow, once you have that understanding of doshas, you can connect both very easily. So this is what about relation dosha prakriti is about. So understanding the language of the doshas is very much important. In Ayurveda, your dosha is like a super secret sauce. Once you're for example, in a couple, let me take couple as an example. So in a couple, if each other know what their doshas are, so it is a secret sauce for you to have your relationship better. So that will help you to deal with your relationships, even with maybe with your kids or with your parents. Every time when you know what the person's body major constitution is or major energy level is, then it becomes for you to understand the person much easier. Once we understand the basics of Ayurveda, we can get along with anyone. That becomes very easy. I'll tell you how in the next. Now, again, coming to a new angle on relationship, what we are speaking about, the exact topic. I would like to tell you with my own experience itself. I am now 19 years of marriage life I have. But all these 19 years to have an understanding or to feel or to, I think you also can connect yourself to make me feel that he was the right person. It took me at least 10 to 12 years. Honestly, it took 10 to 12 years. It is not that we had a fight every day, all these 10 to 12 years, but we didn't have that agreements. Or even today, even though we may not have agreements for everything, but we accept each other. We know that because everyone in their point of life, it may be any relationship, it may be close friends, it may be partners, or it may be in your working atmosphere also. You start accepting the person, which happens naturally. It is not that you're putting any effort. It happens naturally on day to day when you're dealing with them, you start understanding them. And then you come to a conclusion that, yes, I think he is okay. We can handle him or I can be with him. Because there are certain relationships where you cannot change it. There are certain relationships we can walk out. For example, if you're working in a company, there are certain ways, a certain situations where you can be in the company Or if you cannot deal with that, you can leave and join the company. But there would be certain situations where you cannot leave the company. You have to work with, you have to be with those people. So in that way, what you start understanding the person slowly. That happens even in the relationship. As I told you, it took me 10 to 12 years to understand that he was my right person in my life. And he also felt after many years, she is the right fit for my family. I think you all can connect yourself also and understand that there is one point of time in the life. It may be a partner, or it may be a friend, or it may be a colleague. We start feeling that no, this person is okay to deal with. That happens after certain time. But just think, these 10, 12 years which took for me, if that would have happened in 1 year, I think these 10 years would have been much, much better in terms of relationship or life or everything. It would have been much, much better. For that 1 year, if I had dealt with that person through the angle of doshas, I think it would have been better. I'm telling you, being an Ayurveda doctor myself, I didn't realize that much that I can look into this through this angle also till certain point of my life. But then I realized, yeah, why didn't I look into it like in this way? That way it would have made my life much more easier. If I had understood my husband, yeah, he is a pitta person. So this is what his temperaments are. This is how I need to deal with. And as you know, we have in Kannada a proverb, "Puttuguna sutrogana." So once we are born with certain characters or certain features, till our death, nobody can change it, or we should not try to change it. So we start dealing with it. In the same way, maybe with our in-laws, or it may be with our friends or anybody. Once we start understanding what their temperaments are, what their desires are, how we tell is most important. See, in a relationship, the most important is this. There are two primary reasons for couples or friends or anything to seek therapy. When they come to therapy or any treatments, it is one, they want to stay together or they want to apart from each other, right? So the main source of disharmony is the communication. In any relationship, when there is a problem, the problem is with the way we communicate, what we have to communicate. That is most important. And with present generation, it is rather than telling husband and wife problems, it is parents and kids problems, which is becoming bigger and bigger. I think each one of us, when we have a family or kids, or it may be a grandkids if we have, we need to tell them to learn Ayurveda. See, when you want to learn yoga or mudras or anything, you put effort, because you cannot just if they tell to put your fingers like this, don't start doing it. You need to have that knowledge. You have to remember it every time when you practice it. You have to put your efforts and practice in order to do a proper mudra, right? In the same way, Ayurveda is also, if you put some efforts and understand what Ayurveda is, what Vata is, what Pitta is, what Kapha is, it becomes easy for you to deal with the people when you know the characteristics of a person. So this is how the communication is most important. Coming to give you few examples. Nature, you may have a hard time with your kapha dominant partner. What does it mean is pitta persons are persons who are very like proactive. They want to do everything in a very orderly manner, and they're very focused in what they are doing. But if you have a kapha dominant person, then it becomes, because they are very easygoing, they are a little lazy, they don't want to do it on time like that. In that way, to handle the partners, it becomes very tough. But once you start understanding that is what he is, then to make them to come to your level, there are certain ways or communication which you need to do, which make them feel comfortable or they don't get annoyed to listen to you. So those characteristics and features of the communication, how you need to do that, I'll be explaining in the further slides as well. As you came now, I think it is little difficult for you to understand. Today, what we are speaking about is regarding the relationship. See, relationship is one thing. It is a very subtle subject, which is not easy to handle. And it's not the relationship of only the couple we are speaking about. It may be any relationship with your friends, or it may be in your work atmosphere, anywhere, with whomever you are dealing with. When you start looking into that person with the angle of doshas. So dosha is the energy levels in our body, like Vata, Pitta, Kapha. It has their own characters and features. Like for Vata, it has its own characters, their likes, dislikes, the way they behave, the temperament they have. These knowledge when you have, if your partner or friend or somebody is of that character, it is easy for you to identify. First, important is you need to identify the person, which category they belong to. Then only you can deal with them easily. So tomorrow with the Dr. Belaku's class, you'll understand what their characters are and you'll be able to easily identify with their behaviors and everything to one level. I'm not telling you'll be analyzing your Prakriti, but with the dominant characters, you'll understand what their main energy levels are. So in that way, if you start understanding and dealing with them, then the relationships will work out better. So coming to, we were speaking about a person with a Pitta nature. The ma'am is lucky enough, she has a Vata dominant partner, I think so. Right, so Vata Pitta, it is little not so difficult to handle comparatively when there is a Kapha person. But there are certain characteristics differences also which comes, but once you start understanding what he feels like, which I'll be explaining you in the further slides, then it becomes easy for you to handle it. In the same way for you also to understand the Pitta characters, it becomes easy to handle the person. So in this way, to if you see a partner with Pitta nature, you may have a hard time with your Kapha dominant partner. You have intensity and drive while they want to move slowly and methodically. So there is a big difference in Pitta and Kapha person. But when we are speaking all this, we need to understand, are we telling that Pitta person has to marry Pitta? The Vata person has to marry Vata? No. We cannot be fixing like that. It is that whomever you have in your family, or because you cannot have whole family as a Pitta family or a Vata family or a Kapha family, that cannot work out, right? So you should know how to deal with all the body constitution people. So there is nothing that we are not telling that you marry a Pitta person or Vata person, but it is always good to understand the person through the angle of doshas, so that it happens naturally, as I told you many times, but by learning through the doshas, you will have limited time to understand the person. And this is not only the tool which will be helping in the nurturing the relationship, it is one of the tool which will be helping in nurturing the relationship. Let me make it very clear. It is not that we are telling that you just follow this, you'll have a good relationship, no fights tomorrow. As I have a background of sales and marketing as well, there is always, when we go with the neuro-linguistic programs, when we attend, they always tell how to deal with the clients whom we have. There is a metaphors which we always consider while doing the sales communication. So those metaphors will help us to understand, even because all the communication doesn't happen face to face. It will be over the phone or through email or through WhatsApp nowadays. So those metaphors will help us to understand what the other person is actually about. And then we start communicating with the person with the same metaphors. So then it becomes easy to convert the lead, or it may, in that way we look into that. That is also nothing but Ayurveda. That is, metaphors are nothing but Vata, Pitta, Kapha body constitutions which we deal with. So coming to the next slide, which is, if you and your partner both are Kapha in nature, you may find yourself in a cold war, but stubborn and attached to your always. That is also a little difficult when you both are of the Kapha dominant persons. So there are certain ways you need to handle it when both of you understand this is what their nature is, but you have to push each other, because always Kapha persons need a support. When there is a support, they can thrive forward. But when both are Kaphas, they need something externally also to drive them both. So in that way, they have to work it out in a different way. It doesn't mean that each other cannot be handling the conditions or the situation to drive them or to go to the what they are looking for in the future. So whichever nature you are, there will be challenges. But how you adapt yourself and understand the body constitution, that would be helping to handle the relationship. We often chose our partners to help us find balance and to bring us joy. It happens most of the time, because initially when we get with any person, we get attracted to certain qualities of that person. But that quality itself will start annoying us after being in relationship for some years. So we should start understanding that that was the character I like in or her. But today, if I am finding it difficult, then I have to work on myself. That person cannot change because that is the inbuilt character or the prakriti of a person. So we have to understand what that body constitution is, which attracted me at the end of the day. So I have to change myself. So in that way, we have to deal with. A Pitta person can help a Vata person to be focused. They're helping because Vata persons are very, very active. They cannot sit in one place. They want to be doing everything very urgently. They are not very focused. That Pitta persons are very focused. They know when to do, what to do, how to do, everything. They're very focused and they're very, like they have a timetable. Like that, they're managing their life. When they have a Vata person who is very, very urgently, they want to finish any work, the Pitta person will be helping the Vata person to be focused. That is why that relationship will be much, much better when they have that understanding. A Vata person can help a Kapha person to lighten up, get creative, and have more fun. All these things, I understand that it is very difficult for you to today to understand what I'm exactly meaning about it because you don't have the complete knowledge about Vata, Pitta, Kapha. I'm really sorry for that, but that will be explained to you tomorrow. So then you'll understand what I'm speaking about. Okay. A Kapha person can help a Pitta person to remember, to stop and smell the roses and to recall what is important in life. What is important that the Kapha person will make them to slow down also because every time we cannot be very hyper. When we learn to love and accept our partners, friends, and associates for who they are, to recognize their nature, then our relationship will thrive. There are some positive ways to reframe some of the most common traits and tendencies of each dosha. This is what the main slide which I wanted to explain you. See, there are ways when you understand what your partner is, there are ways to communicate to a person. Because there are certain ways when we know, we start criticizing the person. Rather than criticizing, if you validate the person, the things would be much more smoother rather than criticizing them. Because the Vata persons are very hyper, as I mentioned before. When they are very hyper, rather than telling you're too hyper, what you're doing, everything is good, rather than tell them you're so much energetic, you have too much of energy, please slow down. Let us do it in this way. When you say you are hyper, they get more hyper. Rather than telling you have more energy, man, why don't you little slow down? Let us do the work like this. Then come to your path and they start listening to you. Like this, there are various Vata criticizing characters varies. They are very nervous, weird, abrupt, spineless. But to validate that, if you start using or communicating with them using the words, you are energetic. You be a little cautious rather than telling, why are you so nervous? Why don't you slow down a little bit? You tell them, be cautious. I think it will hit you or it will create some problem to you. Be a little cautious. They feel that there is some touch, there is some love. So these words, when you start using to your partner, I think the relationship will nurture more better. So rather than telling they're doing, as I told you, they want to do 10 things at one time. So you feel so weird nature the person has. But when you use the word weird, they get annoyed. Rather than telling that why are you so creative, why don't you do this job, that job, and bring them to that path, that becomes more easy. In the same way, there are certain characters for Pitta also. They're very much, as I told, they're perfectionist. They want everything. Are you like that? Pitta? Are you micromanaging? Are you too much workaholic? That is what the nature of Pitta is. Sir has already identified. That is what the nature of Pitta persons are. They're very much, they're micromanaging, they're workaholic. Rather than telling them workaholic, if you just tapping their back and telling you're too ambitious, you need to slow down, we need to have some holiday now, it is too much you have work. In that way, when you start handling the person, it becomes more caring, loving, and they'll have better understanding in a relationship. So these are the criticizing terminologies which we start using with it may be in the workplace also. When you are working with many people, when you have different personality peoples in in a company, when you're working, each person is different. When you have a project to handle, if you have different persons of different nature, a boss should really try to identify what vata person should handle, what a pitta person should handle, what a kapha person. In that way, if work has been distributed, you can see a very good successful in any project. In that way, we have to start evaluating the persons and assigning the job. Then you can see the success. So these are the pitta things. Coming to kapha, as I told, they are very lazy, easygoing, cool. They don't take stress. Sorry, I cannot use the word stress after Mr. Shivaji stop. I'm really sorry for using that word. They are very apathetic, lazy, clingy, predictable work. They're very like a laid back persons. It is not that you can push them too much, but they need a support. If they have a support of a pitta or a vata partner, you can see a very good family life in between vata and kapha person or pitta or kapha person. They would be a very good couple as well. That combination is important. I think when you're having your relationship or when you're speaking with your family or friends, you see some people telling she completes me or he completes me. This comes only after 10 or 15 years or 20 years, or it may be after 30 years of their marriage or being in relationship. But they come to that point. They come to that point telling that she completes me or he completes me, even though they have different characters. Because they start understanding after so many years that she was important or he was important in my life. Otherwise, the life would not have been the way it has been. So if that starts happening in first year of our marriage or first year of our relationship or few months when we join a company, if that starts happening, then life becomes very easy. So we need to start looking everything with these doshas. Definitely, I'm telling you, it's my own personal experience as well. As I told you, it took me many years as well. But after that, once I start understanding, it became very easy for me. Personal life, yes, but in the professional life, I think it has worked wonders for me. It happens because it is not so easy for you to accept a boss or to accept your colleague when they join or when they come. And when you are in a place working for n number of years and somebody joins newly, it is not so easy for you to accept the person. But once you start working on it, once you start understanding the person through this angle, I have tried with this angle itself. I'm telling you my practical experience. It will really work. It will really work, and you can see a lot of changes in the working atmosphere as well. So in this way, we need to understand the criticism factors and start validating them. Then life becomes more easier. See, as I told, as I explained, instead of labeling the kapha partner as lazy, if you try acknowledge your partner's tendency to be more relaxed, present, and patient, then you can ask your kapha partner to get up and go out with you. Your ability to communicate this request with suggesting they are lazy will make it more desirable for them to say yes. After all, kapha loves to support. So like this, there are different characters of pitta and vata. Once you start understanding completely about what their characters are from tomorrow's class, then you will understand, oh, this is how I have to handle that person. This is how I have to manage that person. So in every relationship, what that take from this talk today is I want you all to mainly study Ayurveda. See, Ayurveda is nothing to do only with the BMS doctors or anything. It is the way of life. It is the Veda. Each one of us should start studying Ayurveda to incorporate that in our day-to-day life. That will help in everything to have a healthy life and to have a healthy relationship as well. That is what the main intention of this topic or the talk was for today. So with this, I like to conclude any relationships, or it may be any work you do. It may be newly if you are learning yoga or if you're learning mudras. Every time you need to have a practice. You need to have your commitment to learn it. You need to have interest in doing that. Without having that, you cannot learn yoga or mudra or anything. The same way, even Ayurveda. Once you have the interest, you know that this will work. Then you start adapting it. And I also request each one of you tell your family members to do that. And especially if you have new generation, the present generation kids and all. When I went to Ayurveda discussion with the government also, that was main thing which we discussed. We need to put this subject in the school level itself. then they'll start adapting it, they'll start understanding it. And it is also very much important for them to understand from the childhood. That makes much better kids will have, and they'll have good relationships also. They'll know how to manage the relationships. Otherwise, with present generation, they are finding very difficult. But it is not that the older generation are doing good. They are also finding difficult to cope up with the present generation, which they also have to learn to understand what the present generation is undergoing, or how they behave, what their tendencies are. Everything they also should understand and then adapt accordingly to have a healthy relationship. That can happen only when you know what the person's temperaments, likings, dislikings, what their body type is about. Then only you can deal with them. So this is what I wanted to put forward. I know that it was a very subtle subject, but I had only one line which I wanted to convey to all, that please learn Ayurveda and adapt in your life, and to deal with the healthy relationship. These three energy levels, characters are important to understand and deal with it. But I don't know how I could make it put forward to you or make you understand. I put my efforts to make you understand. I hope you'll understand better tomorrow once you have the complete knowledge of Vata Pitta.
And here, like at least for both of us, you professionally said what is our dominant dosha. But when I deal with third person, will there be risk? Because based on behavior, if I say that okay, it's beta person, so I am.
See, that is the reason I told you. Here I'm not telling a normal people to study Ayurveda in that depth to understand the Prakriti of the person. You need not understand the Prakriti. You cannot go to the level of Prakriti person, a Prakriti understanding, without having the complete knowledge of Ayurveda. But here, that is the reason I have put dosha. If you see my topic, I have not put it as Prakriti. I have put it as doshas. The reason I put it first, I thought of giving it as Prakriti itself, but then I understood everyone cannot understand Prakriti, but you can understand the dosha nature with their characters in a bigger scale, broader scale. But once you know their doshas, their predominant characters, this is what a Vata person looks like. It would not be tough for you. Once you start seeing that person, you can tell after being for few minutes with their characters, with their that is the reason. Study Ayurveda, read Ayurveda, understand your daily dinacharya, rutucharya, and also basic principles of Ayurveda, so that you will understand what that person is. Just by looking at the person and being and talking with him for at least half an hour, you will understand what the person is. Then you start, because any relationship will not have 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The relationship happens in a period of time, right? But to have that relationship understanding, it will take some time. But you can understand the person with the major quality of the doshas. Yeah. Identifying becomes easier. I am telling you, tomorrow after the class, we'll start identifying each other. We'll start understanding this is what, maybe he's your friend. He may not have told you what his Prakriti is. Dr. Belak would have already told him. But you, after understanding what the dosha characters are, you will identify this is what your Prakriti is. As I told you, that is the reason I apologized with you. That class should have been first and my class was next. But because of some commitments, I had to put it forward. Once you start understanding doshas, it becomes very sensible. It becomes very easy to connect these two together.
So these companies of publication, see, they should also ask.
So otherwise, also, if you take most of the details, your hobbies, and I think hobbies is one thing which you take in your resumes, I think, right?
So the after question will be.
I think these things, if you adapt, it becomes easy to deal with. As I told you, it's my practical experience only. It is not because I am a Pitta person. It is not so easy for me to accept a colleague or it may be a family member so easily, because if they are of Kapha nature, it is very difficult for me to deal with them. Instead of telling that job to that person, I do that job and I finish it off. That is what the characters of mine is. But slowly I start understanding. See that if I start doing that, when will that person learn, or when I cannot do that job, when will that person do that job? So if I have not taught him, he cannot do it at all. So in that way, I start accepting them. So in that way, you start dealing with the people, then it becomes more easier and it makes more sense also. I'll tell you, first time when you listen to it, it doesn't make much sense. I'm telling you. But once you start adapting it and start practicing it, then only it makes sense. Otherwise, it looks like a bullshit. I'm telling you, it is not. It doesn't make any sense if you don't feel Ayurveda is a science. First, we should accept Ayurveda. That is why we tell always any people when they call me or when they discuss regarding their health conditions or anything, their expectations are very high. So I do ask them, do you ask the same question to an allopathic doctor? Because they expect, what if I don't get this? Will you give my money back? That would be their question. So I tell, in how many hospitals have you got money back? It doesn't work like that. First, Ayurveda works only when you are positive about it. When you feel it really works on you, then only Ayurveda works. If you have too much of negativity, you just test and see. When they don't have positiveness about Ayurveda, whatever the best treatments our doctors give, they'll not see the result, especially in the weight loss programs. Weight loss programs, we have seen many cases when they are very suspecting whether it happens or doesn't happen today, and every time, every minute checking their weight, and no, doctor, what you're doing is not right. They never, whatever the best of best treatments we give them, they don't lose their weight. But when they are positive, even though we will feel, as a doctors, we will feel that is a Vata person, it is very difficult to lose weight, let us try and all. But still they start losing weight because they are very positive about it. Anything when we start looking it positively, it starts working on us. Even Ayurveda is like that. Start studying Ayurveda. And most importantly, before ending this session, I don't know, there are many kids or everyone have their kids, but most important, what problem is happening is between the parents and kids problem, kids and parents problem. Understanding is getting every day a big issue in the society at present. I always tell, rather than telling the kids first, I tell the parents, they have to understand the nowadays kids. Because we cannot be telling or we cannot be nagging about telling that this is how we were, this is how our condition was, our situation was. No, that you cannot put it on the kids. And kids also should start understanding it. But for them to understand, have we brought them to that path? Have we shown them that path that this is how you have to deal your life with? No. So we should start showing them the path of Ayurveda, yoga, these things. When they start adapting, I think they can also will understand you much better. What you have gone through all your life. That understandings will come between each other once they start looking into the things in a different way. Otherwise, every day they'll be nagging on the same situation or the same problem. So in that way, I think whomever you meet or you have your families or friends, please tell them to adopt Ayurveda. Thank you. Thank you.
The course of action for the beginners, any specific course?
Yeah, I see that is the reason we have certain courses. We do like a 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. See, again, my sales pitch comes up. As a salesperson, it never goes. Even being a doctor, we have different courses in Ayurveda starting from 2 weeks. Just for the beginners, we have a 2 weeks course where you learn complete basic principles of Ayurveda. There are certain courses where you learn even Abhyanga also along with basic principles. But if you're not interested, because self-Abhyanga is very much important. As you have undergone the treatments here, I always tell you, anyhow, Dr. Belaku would be telling you during your discharge time, learning Abhyanga and doing Abhyanga on yourself or doing on partners, each other, is very much important. It is not that you come to an Ayurveda center, have some Ayurveda massages and go back and you go to your routine. No, you should have oil massages at least once in a week. That will, doing massage for each other is also important. Even we teach that couple massages, and you will learn basic principles of Ayurveda, which takes only 2 weeks of your time. Whenever you have that time, you can come and enroll for that. And we don't have like a generalized classes, group classes. It is one-to-one classes which we take. And as per the person's requirements, we'll be adapting the classes as well. That also you can do, but if you don't have time for that, now internet gives all the informations, and there is one book, Ashtanga Sangraha or Ashtanga Hridaya in Ayurveda, which is a classical text. So if you refer that also, you can learn so many things about Ayurveda, or even Googling also. And if you go to our website, it's more informative. It gives you more information, what you need to learn. It may be regarding Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or it may be regarding Ayurveda, regarding Abhyanga, treatments, everything. There is a lot of information in our website itself. So go through our website, and whenever you have any questions or anything, as I told you, it is not that we get disconnected once you check out from here. We handhold you till the time you want us to handhold you. So any questions, any problems, you can be communicating with us through WhatsApp or email, whichever is convenient to you. So we keep answering to you. It may be with the generalized questions like this, you can send it to me. If it is specific health concerns questions, you can send it to Dr. Belakush. She will also share our contact details with you, where we always do that. We always tell all our guests that to be in touch with us. So otherwise we'll not know what is going on in your life. It is not that once you come and go from here, everything will be good enough. The follow-up is also important. It is not that you have to come back again and again, but once in a year doing is good. Otherwise, all these 1 year, how you can manage it, you can be in touch with us and we'll help in dealing with it. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Important. Yes. Yes. Definitely. See, understanding ourselves is first important. Loving ourselves is first important. Then only we need to look into others. But that is what I almost every time when I say to whenever we have a discussion, it may be in the family or with my son or anybody, first you start loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, then it is no matter that what good deeds you are doing, what good you are doing to others. That doesn't matter. When you are only not there, you're not calm and good enough to handle yourself, you cannot help the other person. So start loving yourself. I tell my son always, start taking care of yourself, start loving yourself. See that you dress up well, you look good, your skin is good, all these things is very much important. Then it gives you a lot of confidence. It gives you a lot of open up to speak with the person whom with you're communicating and all these confidences comes with you once you start loving yourself. That is very much important. Understanding your body constitution is much more important. So as you are here and you're with the doctors, you can explore more with the doctors also what your body constitution is. And with tomorrow's class, you can connect much with that and understand better about your conditions. See, not only physical, we are speaking more about the physical body. There is mental energies also like sattva, rajas and tamas, which also is very much important. But once we deal with this energy, then only we can deal with those energies, because handling sattva, rajas, tamas is not so easy like vata, pitta, kapha. But here it is, for you to understand it would be easy, and to cope up with that and deal with your relationships, it becomes much more easier. Okay.
These slides
we can share this with you. No problem. We can share that. And it is all our talks, everything is in our Facebook. Our Facebook, all the talks which has happened all these days, everything you can access in our Facebook account. Only as of now, only Facebook we have kept it. We have not created anything in the website. I think that will happen in next few days.
Hello. Hello.